Yeah. All right, we live. Y'all ready?
Yes, sir.
ready.
All right, y'all hear that music right there? That means you got to move a little bit. You got to vibe just a little bit. All right. He Mr. Cool over there. He just like nothing wrong with that. You know, I always give a shout out to my son Dorian, Jackpot Productions, for that little track right there, man. He's doing his thing. And he's doing his thing on the football field. So I'm excited for him. He got his first game tonight. So I'm super excited. But I tell you what, man, we got some great guests on the 11th hour today. We're going to talk a little bit of little realty, little buy some houses, and some of y'all that's out there broke talking about you going to get that 6-bedroom mansion out there. We're going to talk to somebody to let you know that, yeah, you're probably not going to get that. So I'm going to just let them introduce themselves. So this is family, man. Like, this is my fam. So I'm super proud of them for what they're doing. They're doing some great things in the community and in the neighborhood. And so I'm so excited to have them on the show today. So thank you guys for stopping by.
Thank you for having us.
I appreciate you. Appreciate you. Now, we always talk about the 11th hour because my concept is, you know, like, you know, when you're in that 11th hour, you got to make a decision of what you're going to do. You know, do you want the 6-bedroom mansion, or do you just want that little 3-bedroom joint, you know, or do you want to borrow $6 million or just six, you know,
60,000.
Yeah, or the 60,000. You got to make that decision. You know, you want that high payment,
Right.
or do you want to get what you can afford? So what I'm going to do is, like I always do, I'm going to let y'all introduce yourself and just kind of say who you are. You're going to want to let him start first. Introduce yourself, tell you your title, and kind of what you do.
All right. My name's Torrence Verge, and I am with a company called Preferred Rate, and I do mortgage lending. My position is area manager, so I'm a registered MLO, mortgage loan originator. So
Okay.
I help people get financing, but that's not my primary job anymore. I kind of run about 10 offices across the nation, from California to Virginia Beach.
You travel with that?
I do.
Man,
I do travel with that.
You need me to carry your luggage next time you go to California?
Man, that stuff gets old, man.
Man, I know.
That's, you know, the beautiful thing. You got Zoom meetings and team meetings and stuff like that, so you don't have to travel as much.
Right.
You know, due to the pandemic, we're not traveling as much as we used to, but typically I would say that I probably travel once a month, maybe like 3 or 4 days a month. I'll be on the road, but other than that, I'm at the house and doing Zoom calls. Now, before the pandemic, it was probably about twice a month.
Wow.
So you're talking about, you know, you're talking about seven business days in a month. To me, that's half the month almost.
It is.
You know, at least a third of the month. So, and then with me having, you know, kids and stuff like that, trying to stay involved with that, you know, you don't want to be away.
You're right. Know?
But that's what we do, man. We help people get financing for homes. It's the education part, because like we were just talking about, a lot of people have these ideas that they can afford X amount. You know,
I noticed that deep breath you took right there. It's almost like I don't even want to say this, but
well, you know, the side job is to educate, man. It's really to educate, to let them know exactly how the lending process goes and things of that nature, and what it takes to qualify for a home loan, and what, you know, I never tell people no. Okay. It's all about, you may not be able to buy right now. Now it's going to be up to you as far as when you can buy.
Right. Okay.
So because you'll never hear me say, no, you can't buy. No, we're not ready right now.
Baby.
You know what I'm saying?
We ain't ready right
now. But everybody is capable of buying as long as you're willing to put the work in.
There you go. Put in the work.
That's it.
That's a popular word. That's like one of my favorite words. I say that with my kids. Put that work in. You'll be good. Okay.
I'm Konica. Hey, y'all. Anyways, I'm a realtor. I work for Arbitrage.
I know, just over the top.
That's my personality.
She ain't auditioning for no role or nothing.
I'm a realtor. I work for Arbitrage Brokers. It is Black owned.
Oh, really?
And a female broker.
What?
Yes.
Is that new around here?
We're in Nashville. Shout out to Stacy Coleman, our broker. Whoop, whoop.
All right.
We service the Middle Tennessee area.
Okay.
I service all of Tennessee, honestly.
All of Tennessee.
I've been from Memphis, and I just got a call to go to chat.
Wow.
So I service all of Tennessee. So I don't mind traveling. I don't mind getting out there. If you feel like you see something you want out there, I'm going to be there to service you.
That's nice.
And when this lender tells you you're not ready right now, I'm going to find a way to get you ready quick.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute.
I'm your girl.
We're going to talk about that in a minute. Them realtors that be pushing you into them houses. That be
I don't push, but when they want to,
suggest strongly, you know.
Well, you can say that, but when they're ready to go and they have that mindset and they like ready, it's time to work.
It's time to work. Okay, so tell me, how did you get into this business? How did you get into, being a realtor? What pushed you to that?
My brother over here.
Oh, really? Okay.
Now, Torrence has been in Linden for how long?
Since 2004.
Okay. I've always seemed like to be the middle person in something with real estate.
Really? Okay.
Torrence.
Okay.
So he kept saying, you need to go get your license. You need to go get your license. I'm like, oh, I'm so tired of school. I don't want to go back to school.
Right.
So finally, I just broke down.
2-week class.
Did my
Wow.
But this is the thing. I
gotta go back to school. 2 weeks.
I took off work for 2 weeks because I actually went into school for 8 hours a day. So I treated it like a job.
A 2-week job.
I did, but I had to take leave and stuff.
I told you we ain't gonna make it through this, Jordan. I'm telling you right. I mean, you made it sound like you went back to school for like 6 months or something like that. You like, Lord, I had to go back to school. I just struggle. Yeah, 2 weeks. Okay. Well, I mean, for some people, that's rough.
I mean, listen, I had to go back to school to get licensed. I had to get my mind back into the mindset of studying, focusing, and still maintaining my everyday schedule with my children.
Okay.
For 2 weeks. And I had to study after the 2 weeks.
Okay. So 2.5 weeks.
Whatever, mate.
Okay. So you have all these big numbers, all these big letters after your name. So what kind of schooling did you have to go to? I hope it was longer than 2 weeks to get them letters.
Well, actually, to become a loan originator just itself, it's not a lot that goes into it.
Okay.
Now, during the crash, the market collapsed back in 2008, 2009, around that time. They came out with some new laws called the Frank Dodd laws.
Okay.
And what that did back in the day when I first got in it, basically you paid $100 to the state, got a license, signed up with a mortgage company, and they trained you, and you was off and running.
Okay.
Now that changed though after the 2008, 2009 crash when the Frank Dodd came out. They came up with what's called the NMLS, which is the National Mortgage Licensing System. And so now they make you have to study and take a 20-hour class. And then after that's shorter than 2 weeks. You're right.
It is.
It's a 20-hour class. And then each state that you're licensed in, you have to take, depending on which state it is, that varies. It may be 1 hour or 4 hours. And that's really just state laws for that particular state.
Okay.
So it's a little bit longer now. And I will tell you this, that test, when you have to pass that test, it was a beast of a test because it's a lot of information that you got to cover, and you got to know all these different state laws, federal laws, just what the terms mean and things of that nature. For me, it wasn't a problem because my background is finance and economics, so I've been around it all my life.
Okay.
My degrees are dual degree finance and economics.
Wow.
So I've been around that stuff.
Okay.
So it was easy. I ain't gonna say it was easy, but it
was
okay for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But when they came out and made that change, all the loan officers across the nation had to make that, other than if you was a loan officer at an actual bank, because they don't have to take that test.
Wow. Why is that?
Because they said it was a kind of a thing that they said they were already heavily sanctioned and ruled and governed by so many that they shouldn't have to do all this stuff.
Okay. That kind of makes sense though.
It does, but I feel some kind of way about it. But it's okay. It's okay.
So you got in your feelings about that, then?
No, not really got in my. Not me.
Right.
I didn't, because the 20 hours. I feel like, man, why I got to take this 20 hours? But I get it, because from what I've seen, even when I first got into business, because some of the people that were actually over me, I knew a little bit more than they did.
Right.
You know, and I didn't know nothing about mortgages specifically, but I'd have been around the financial industry.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's a little bit different. So you had a lot of people just walking in, because back in the day, it truly was the wild, wild west, because you had what's called the BC days. And the BC days was basically, as long as you was breathing and had a pulse, you were getting qualified.
Yes.
And
yes.
I'm serious about that, which it blows my mind because of the different products and things that was put out there back in the day. I've seen people with 400 credit scores buy a house. This is back in the day. 400 credit scores, buy a house with no money out of their pocket. None. And you're talking about $200,000, $300,000, $400,000.
Wow.
It's a lot of money.
It is.
You know, and that's just one person. So think about hundreds of thousands of people getting that same loan. Now you're talking about billions of dollars, which kind of led to the collapse of the market.
Right.
At the same time, you know, because the way they were setting those products up back in the day, and I don't know if we ain't gonna get too deep into that, because that's a whole
that's a show by itself.
Well, watch the movie Big Short.
Big Short.
Big Short actually talks about the housing crisis.
Okay.
It's a heck of a movie.
Big Short.
And it's dead on the money too.
Okay.
Dead on the money. But the products they were putting out there, to where everybody back then was on like 2 and 3 year arms. And they had these 2 or 3 year arms, meaning that your rate is fixed for the first 2 or 3 years, and after that it starts adjusting. Okay. So once it started adjusting, it was okay at first, you know, but home prices started kind of going up. So when people was going into that thing, the economy started kind of going bad. People were losing their jobs, and what they were doing is they would go buy another house because they knew they couldn't afford this one no more, and just walk away from that house. That started happening so much that's the reason they changed the laws that came out with the whole Frank Dodd laws, because those types of things were happening all the time. They saw this big thing coming. They was like, whoa, what's going on here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was too easy to skirt the system, so to speak, to get into another house before
that house
was
taken care of.
Right.
Because I know in Detroit, boy, it was tough up there, man. Like, I mean, there was reports of people just walking out of one house and walking into another house. Like,
Detroit is still bad.
Like, how you do that? Like, that's just crazy. That was crazy to me. You know, I'm sure they was doing it in other places too, but I know there it was really a big deal going on up there.
Yes.
All right. So, is there anything both of you guys wish you have known before you got into your business, into what you were doing? Is there anything you like, man, I wish I'd have known this? Or is there anything you kind of wish you kind of, scoped out first before you got into it?
I wish I would have known more about investing.
Okay.
I would have started out running.
For yourself?
For myself.
Okay. All right.
For myself and my family.
Okay.
I would almost kind of say the same thing. I mean, I knew about investing, but when it came to these houses, as far as just learning all the different products that are out there, it really surprised me, because it's a little bit different than going to the bank and just get, say, a personal loan.
Right.
It was actually easier to get a mortgage than it was to get a personal loan.
Really?
And I'm talking about a personal loan of like $2,000.
Yeah.
But you go get a house for $200.
Exactly.
Right.
Wow.
Had I known that, I
would have bought the block early.
Yes.
You'd have bought the whole neighborhood.
The block early.
Right.
Early.
Wow. So let me ask you a question. So now that you know things, how are you educating people on buying houses and making sure they get what they really, really want?
Well, first of all, we need to know your credit score, first of all. And a lot of people are always afraid to get started.
Yes.
They nervous about what their credit score may be.
Right.
But either way it goes, we're going to have to find out regardless.
Right.
Whether we wait now or wait 10 days later. 30
Can
days
it change
later.
in 10 days? Can it change in 10 days?
Can it really?
It
Okay.
can.
Okay.
Yeah.
It can.
But the point is, we got to get started first, so we'll know which direction to go into, so we can educate you on what you need to do to get there.
Right. Okay. So what if you have what is a bad credit score? What is considered a bad credit score?
400.
What can 400 get you?
0. Nothing.
Can it get you a piece of apartment?
400 can get you some guidance to get you to a 6 something. Some conversation started.
Okay. Okay, but okay, if you he can't even let you answer the question.
That's true, ain't it?
No, she's right. Now, that's kind of a loaded question though when you're talking about what's a bad credit score.
Okay. Well, let me put it like this then. If I want to buy a house and you say, well, you need to go see your lender, and you say, okay, you're gonna need a credit score of at least what?
We could actually go all the way down to like 520.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, that's not a guarantee. There's other stipulations and guidelines that go along with that. Technically or typically, the guidelines are going to state that if your credit score is below 580, you're required to put down at least a minimum of 10%.
Okay.
Now, with that being said, think about that. Put down 10%. Your credit score is below 580.
Do you have 10%?
Exactly. What's the likelihood that you're going to have 10% to put down?
0.
If your credit score is below 580.
Well, it could be for some educated people that don't utilize their credit and they do have cash. They just don't use credit.
Well, now, since you mentioned that, I was going to ask that question. So how do you get your credit score up if it's down?
That's going to be more
that's
so.
As him. Okay. All right.
That's going to be more so as far as improving your credit score. It's if you have credit cards, keeping those limits. You know, if you got say $1,000 limit, you want to keep that balance at 30% or less. If you don't have any credit, you may have some collections on there. I always tell people clean up your collections. I'm just a big proponent about pay your debts. If you owe it, pay it. Get it done. You know what I'm saying? Now, there's some credit repair people who now they'll tell you a different story, but I'm not in the credit repair game. So I'm not going to speak on that portion of it. But I would say if you got credit cards, though, keep those balances at 30% or less of whatever your limit is. If you don't have anything positive on your credit report, meaning that you have no open and active accounts, you need to have something open and active in order to move your credit in the right direction.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
Installment loans are good to have on there. You don't want to have a ton of them, but you know, like car payments and things of that nature. You got to have something on your credit in order to make it move forward, because we just got just bad stuff on them. And what I mean by bad stuff is just collections.
Right.
But you have no credit cards, you have no car payments, you don't have a mortgage payment, you don't have nothing else on there that's reported. All you got sitting is negative stuff. So your credit score is not going anywhere.
It's just gonna stay bad.
It's just gonna stay bad.
Okay.
Right. Now over time, don't get me into those to tell you the exact dates, but I think some like 10 years that things, as long as they've been on there, when they quit reporting, like it's actually 7 years.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna think.
That's after they quit reporting, because that's a misconception that's out there. That's when they quit reporting.
Oh,
7 years. That day forward, they can wait till the 6th year and 11th month and start reporting it again. That starts that 7-year cycle
all over again.
And most people don't be thinking that they hear, oh, it's gonna drop off after 7 years. There's a possibility that it will drop off, but there's also the strong possibility
that it won't.
That these people are going to be messing with you and say, you know what, we ain't going to waste our time reporting this because you ain't paying it. But when they get to that 6th year, 11th month, we're going to make sure we got a note that calendar invite, ding, report it, because it starts the 7-year cycle over. Because you got to remember, the collection companies, the majority of them, the way that they work is they buy bad debt from companies. So remember, they're spending money, so they want to get something back from what, although they're buying that debt for pennies on the dollar, but that's their business to make money off the bad debt, right?
Yeah, I remember when okay, this has been many moons ago. So I still remember when me and Nancy moved from Virginia to Murfreesboro, and we had a debt. Like it was an electric bill or something, and I called to challenge it or whatever. And the dude was like, well, that's why you're gonna have this on your thing for the next 7 years, and just hung up the phone. And I was like, do they really be like that sometimes though? Like, I mean, he was pretty cruel, and I'm thinking, really, I mean, I paid the debt, like you just can't remove it, like you just can't take it off. But he was just kind of like, you know,
even if you pay it, it still reports though, right?
Well, it'll just change to been paid, it's satisfied, so to speak.
It's still showing.
But it still shows
negative.
it shows on your as a neg, because once it goes to collections and it reports on your credit report as a collection, it stays there.
Right.
It always stays. You have your good credit accounts, and then you have what's called your derogatory credit accounts. And anytime you make a late payment, if you just make one, it drops to that derogatory section of your credit report.
Okay.
And it stays there.
Now, if I do have a business partner that does credit repair. And a lot of those derogatories can get removed.
So my question would be is if I paid the debt, and I know we're kind of going in another direction. We'll get back in a minute. But if I paid the debt, why won't they just take it off the credit report? Why won't they just take it off? I mean, I'm just curious. Why won't they just take it off?
They can, but they're not obligated to.
You have to get the right rep.
Right.
So I got to come to you. She said in the right mood.
In the right mood.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, okay. I mean, that's kind of sad though. I mean, so that's what keeps people in the low credit scores, right?
Right. And that's why I have a business partner over here for situations like that.
Okay, so explain to the people out there who don't really understand what is credit repair.
Credit repair is removing derogatories off your credit report so you can be in a position to buy.
Can you do that yourself?
You can, but it might take a long time if you don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
I don't specialize in that business. I refer that business to him. Okay. But however, we go over the credit report together so we'll know what to keep on and what to remove. Seriously.
No, I got you.
Because lending looks at things differently versus sometimes what's actually on your credit report.
Right. Okay. I got you. So what do you think is the most important thing you provide as a realtor? What's the most important thing?
Service. I'm going to hold your hand from the beginning to the end.
Okay.
Whether that's going to be, if you only going to be pre-approved for $200,000, you got a $700 car note, I'm finna go refinance it for you. I'm finna go through each debt so we can get your buying power up.
Really?
I do. I don't know about other realtors, but I do for my clients.
Now why is it that you do that?
Why do I do that?
Yeah.
Because I mean, that's one of the biggest expense most people are gonna buy in their life.
Right.
So my goal is, if you're going to buy a house, you need to buy something you love and you can live with.
Right.
Don't settle for, a little shack or whatever just because, I bought something. So my goal is to get you exactly what it is you want or close to it.
Okay. So first time buyers, what do you kind of push them towards, or where you kind of lean towards with them? Is it all in the credit score, what they can afford and all that, or do you just kind of give them advice on where they should start out?
First-time home buyers, I try to save them as much money. Lenders don't like me for that, but I like to give them down payment assistance programs. Okay. I'll negotiate with the sellers to get closing costs paid, because when you get into a house, you need all your money. If you're a first-time home buyer, you're going to want to furnish it. You're going to want to do this. You're going to want to do that. So I try to get them in with little to no money.
Yeah.
Because they are first-time home buyers.
Yeah, you get a lot of nervous first-time home buyers, like people that are like super nervous about buying.
I do. All of them are. They're scared of the whole process, and I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. It's just.
Shoot, I was jacked up when we got our first house.
Really?
Man, I was.
Why?
I mean, like, I was excited. Like, let's do.
Well,
we looked at way too many of them.
A lot of people are afraid of rejection.
What do you mean, like?
Afraid they're gonna get told no
from the lender?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But don't y'all? Okay, so do y'all not find that out before you start house hunting?
Oh yeah,
yes, you have to.
You do.
Yeah.
The problem is most people that they're just not educated on the fact that it don't matter if you're ready to go right now or not. You need to know where you stand. Yeah. So therefore you can formulate the plan and start moving forward.
Right.
But a lot of people I don't know. I've had people tell me, well, don't laugh at me when you pull my credit. I mean, that's not what I'm here for. Right. I'm not going to laugh at you.
At least not in your face.
I'm
just playing. I'm just playing, y'all. I'm just playing.
Up or down, sideways, left. I mean,
but from my perspective,
hey, there's the will, there's a way.
From my perspective,
right? Okay.
Just because if you was to call me, I didn't know you. You just called me out the blue, and
right?
I'll pull your credit, and you got 470. Okay, now I applaud you because you stepped up to the plate to find out, can I buy? Right.
Right.
And what I'm going to tell you is, hey, we're not quite ready yet, but here's what we're going to do. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. We're going to go down that credit report, talk about it. I'm going to see if you recognize things. If you don't recognize things, we're going to analyze that report, see exactly what's going on. We're going to formulate a game plan. And then if you were recommended to me by Konica, then I'll tell Konica, hey, we're not quite ready yet. Got some credit stuff going on. And at that point, I'm done, because we as lenders, we're not supposed to recommend credit repair.
That's where I come in.
Oh, really?
No.
See, that's why I'm your go-to girl.
Yeah.
So
well, that's kind of, I mean, because if you know they need repair.
Yeah, but that's kind of like a manipulation too. Understand what I'm saying? You're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
You know, so it's a fine line
Yeah.
that you have to walk. So it's kind of a gray area. So we kind of have to stay away from the gray areas because something happened with our license where we get a ding on that, I'm done.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I could lose my license, or I could be slapped with $1 million fine.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I can't. So come see me.
So okay, so how do you handle what do you consider a good client and a bad client in your position?
I would say, honestly, I haven't ran into a bad client.
Okay.
But what I consider a bad client is one that's afraid.
Afraid? Really?
Don't be afraid. We got to start somewhere. You could be holding on. Oh, I want to buy really bad, but I'm just scared.
But would that make them a bad client though?
Well, their mental got them. You need to have your mental, not your mental have you.
But I'm thinking on the level of, let me put it like this, an unsatisfied client. How do you deal with those that you just can't seem to satisfy? Well, since you haven't had one, so we don't really.
I really haven't had one.
No, I know.
And the reason why I haven't had one, because I stay involved from the beginning to the end, honestly. Okay. Every day I'm in contact, whether it's with the lender, I'll three-way them in. So everybody's always on the same page. They always know what's going on, and I always make myself available. Okay.
You hard. Like, so a difficult client, because I know you've had at least one, like just difficult. Like,
honestly, I'm not telling no.
Now, how long you been in this business again?
I've been licensed since 17.
Yeah, you've been in there for a while. You've been truly blessed then.
I haven't.
It's because the way you operate.
That's probably what it is.
Probably the way you operate.
I meet people where they are.
Okay.
I'm going to be myself. I'm not coming off as, I'm better than you. You better than me. We're going to meet in the middle. And most of the time, my clients are family after we close the finish line.
Right. Well, that's cool. Well, that's cool. Well, that's good for you then. So
I haven't had no difficult client.
Okay. How about you? You had a difficult, hard client to work with. How do you handle that?
Well, my side is a little bit different. In my position that I do, as far as like I said, I deal with a lot of loan officers across the nation, so I'm always pulled into those types of things. So the way you deal with them is it's like anything else. All I can do is tell you the truth. Try to explain to you and educate you as far as what's going on, why we're here, why we're there, why we got to do this and things of that nature. Because there's a lot of guidelines that don't make sense to a lot of the loan officers. Therefore, it's definitely not going to make sense to a client who don't do this on a daily basis.
Right.
So I have to kind of educate them as far as why. Because you can always ask why. I can answer this question. You can still ask me, well, why?
Right.
And they can keep going on and on and on. But at the end of the day, it's the guidelines.
Right.
Period. I don't write the guidelines. Those come from the banks that put out these products. It comes from the federal government. It comes from the state governments. You got all these different guidelines. And now when I talk about guidelines, we have guidelines from this floor to that ceiling.
Wow. And you know all of them?
No.
I'm like, man, you good.
No.
If you know all of them.
I know the basic guidelines. And I'm saying basic. I know a little bit more than basic guidelines. But everything is right there in front of us, so we can pull it up. Every situation, I can type that up. Okay, let me pull up the guidelines. Let me read this, because it's almost like a case-by-case scenario.
Right.
Based off what went for you, now I've got to go back and say, okay, let me make sure he fits in this box. If not, what can we do to make him fit in this box? Because every situation is a little bit different. Every situation.
Right.
So that's why I always tell people, don't be afraid to go try. And you don't worry about nobody laughing or nothing like that, because that's not what it's all about. It's all about finding out, how can I get to where I want to go?
And no one knows. I just try to come with a solution.
Right.
Whatever the lender tells me, well, they can't do this because of this, this, and this. I'm going to try to find a solution to get through there.
I think for me, when I bought my first house, if I had to say, the only fear I had was how much could we afford? Mm-hmm. I think that's what I was afraid of. Like,
well, it is
when they send in all your numbers and all that, you waiting for them to come back and say, 250 or 175. That's what you got. So
you know what? Now the trend is a little bit different now, but back in the day, the trend was most people, they thought that they would say, I'll get approved for maybe 200,000. In reality, everybody always got approved for more because they just don't know how it works. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of people got approved for 400,000 to 500,000, but they was hoping they was only want to sit around and say 200,000. Now I will say this, and this is a big thing because what I do and what I try to train my staff to do is ask the client, what are you comfortable with?
Right. Okay.
As far as payment wise, because once you tell them what that payment wise is, then I can kind of work the numbers backwards from there and say, okay, you qualified for a purchase price up to this. That's kind of the range you need to stay in to keep your payments in the range that you're comfortable with. Because once I tell you, if you're comfortable, say with a $1,000 a month payment, you say, hey, that's where I want to be. I might be able to go up 100 or 200 at the most, but that's my cap. Now, once you still go out there and Konica starts showing you those houses in that range,
they mad.
They say like, I don't really like this. You know what I'm saying?
But $1,000 don't get you much.
But then you go out and start looking at a house that's at the top of your approval.
Right.
But the payment
ain't there.
Ain't nowhere close to what you said you're comfortable with.
Right.
Now, in most people's minds, and that's just the psychology of man, right? They're thinking, oh yeah, I can afford that.
Because they like it.
But can you?
Well, and I think that's my question is like, okay, why do they have the low end and the top end so different? Like, because like you said, if I'm approved for, let's just say 250, but my max is 325.
Right.
Why is it such a wide difference?
What do you mean as far as how it's approved?
Yeah, because you just said, you approve for let's say you approve for 300.
I think it's like up to 300 and they decide.
Yeah, they decide. The client decides where they want to be. I'll say, I'm going to tell you, hey, you approved. Me personally, I'm going to tell you, when you tell me what you're comfortable with, I'm going to say, hey, to stay in that range, you need to be at 250,000 to stay in that payment range.
Right.
And that's where you need to stay at. Because this is what you're telling me.
Right.
Because all I can do is go by what you're telling me. Because then they'll come back, well, I saw one that's worth this, they asking like 315. Am I approved for that? Yes, you are. What's the payment going to be? About $275 more than what I quoted you.
Right.
No, I'll do your quote up, send it to you. You start looking at that. Most people, they ain't going to say it to me, but they're going to look at them like, whew. They start calculating. You know what I mean? They say, well, I cut that back and do this. Yeah, I can make it work. Stuff like that. Right. And that's okay. But the problem is, once you see that 315, but you really want to stay you really mentally want to be in the 250 range.
Right.
Once you see 315, it's hard to go find something for 250.
Sure is, because once Konica show you that $350,000 house, no, you ain't going backwards. Like,
I mean, and people don't do that. And the thing is, what most people got to remember too, as far as when we're approving people, we're going by your gross income.
Oh yeah,
your gross, not your net.
Okay,
your gross.
Okay, do you think does that seem to be unfair though? Like seriously, like does that seem to be unfair? Because I mean, I don't bring that home. That's like what I make, but that ain't what I bring to the table. But you know what?
Well, can they not change their dependents up and down?
Well, that's what I was about to say. Okay. Because we've got to remember, it depends on what's your write-offs. I mean, what's your deductions and things of that nature. Some people bring it home 90-something% of their check because they got the deduction so high. Right. But at the end of the year, they probably have to pay some taxes.
Right.
So you just never know. But then at the same time, you just never know what else is going on with them. They may have some sort of side business. They got that money coming in. They can't prove that income to me, so they feel comfortable with that. And what I mean by proving,
right.
Cutting grass.
Right. Yeah, I know what you said. Like they doing something legal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Or you could have some change stashed away.
Kitchen issue.
Right.
Okay. All right.
Right.
I lie. Before I get in trouble. Okay. All right. There's two really good questions I want to ask you guys because I know we're running up on time. One is are realtor fees negotiable? Are they really negotiable?
All real estate is negotiable.
Okay. Do y'all like that?
Of course not. Not the fees. Now, honestly, for me, I will adjust my fee to get people into a home.
Okay.
I have done that.
Okay.
If it takes for them to get inside their home, I'll go with it.
Man,
I will. I did it.
Yep.
Several times.
The next
it comes back to you though.
Yeah.
So my job is to make sure you're satisfied.
Okay. How about lender?
Our fees being negotiable? No, they're not negotiable. Not our fees, because we don't have a lot of fees.
Okay.
It's everything else that goes along with it that adds up to your closing costs. Your setting up your escrow account, your title fees to close it, title insurance, and all that good stuff. Most lenders only have really one fee, which is going to be like maybe two, underwriting processing fee, and that can be anywhere from $500 to $1,500. That's it.
Depending on the size of your loan.
No, that company sets what they're going to charge.
Regardless.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the title company.
Right. Well, yeah, title company they'll have a certain set fee. Most title companies say they'll have like their standard fee is say $500.
Okay.
But then you have title insurance, which they can't control title insurance. Title insurance is what the title insurance backers charge for that policy.
Okay,
so they don't control that cost. Like we don't control title fees and nothing like that. Our fee, as far as from a lender, is we got basically one standard fee, well maybe two. Some people put it together, some people break it up, processing, underwriting. That's it.
Okay. So tell me, okay, now I looked this up. Now I was trying to do some research on my own, but I found this little thing. I don't know, a question that says recourse and non-recourse loans.
Okay, well,
what's the difference between the two?
Well, recourse loan means it's backed by something.
Okay.
Meaning like that house. If you don't pay your bill, I can come take that house. Non-recourse, there's nothing backing that.
Okay.
No, so we don't deal with non-recourse. you pay, you stay. You
don't
go away.
Okay, so that ain't what it said when I did my research, but you put it plain. Okay, that's not what I thought that said. Okay, I thought that said something else. Okay, that's cool. Do a lot of people. So when I buy a house, when I sign my name on that dotted line, that means y'all come get my house if I don't pay.
Exactly. That's why you.
Typically, no, because y'all be done sold the loan to somebody else.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And that's a whole nother question, right? Why y'all sell loans? Like I get my loan, and then 3 days later, we got your loan. I'm like, dude, I just signed like yesterday.
Well, that's the business, man. You have what's called the secondary market.
Okay.
So you have certain entities, their business is to house and service blocks of loan. Every mortgage company don't do that. My company, we service about 90% of our loans. And when I say 90%, the only things that we really don't service is probably going to be what's called your bond loans, meaning down payment assistance type loans.
Okay.
We can't service it because whichever entity that's doing the down payment assistance, they have their own servicing in place. So they're going to buy that loan from us and take that.
I got you.
And put it with that service. Then we don't service jumbo loans.
I don't know what that is.
That's the big money.
That's you got what's called your Fannie and Freddie Mae loan limits, and that's based off counties, states, and all that good stuff.
VA loans don't fall under that.
Not really.
We ain't buying big enough houses on the VA.
No, VA, you got to be a veteran.
That's
that's all. Yeah, I know. I use that joker for everything.
Like, you're supposed to.
I am. I am. I'm gonna use that.
To me, it's one of the best loans out there. I
walk into the building, veteran, right here. Veteran, right here. They say, "What you do for a living, veteran?" That's what I do.
How long was you in for?
I did 4 years.
Okay,
Don't matter how long I was in there, I'm still a veteran. That's all that matters.
That's right. As long as you was 90 days active duty,
yes,
you're
sir.
a veteran.
Yes, sir. I got my little paper in my pocket right now. Get my free cheeseburger and fries every November 11th. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. So, what is the most important thing you want people to say about you once they've been in your care?
Say that I truly took care of them. They were very happy with my services, and they got exactly
y'all got me
what
crying
they
over here.
Don't cry, Mike.
I know y'all.
That's okay.
Oh, bless it.
You need a hug.
I might after this. They was what now?
I like to know that I'm a trusted realtor. I'm always going to look out for your best interests.
Okay. That's it. That's all you want them to know. That's great. That's
I'm gonna get you
great.
to the finish line.
Now, how much travel are you willing to do for a client? Like, how much traveling are you willing to do for a client?
I've been to Memphis. That's the furthest that way I've been.
Like they lived here, but they was looking for a house in Memphis.
They were selling a house in Memphis.
Oh, okay.
So I sold a house in Memphis. I'll go from anywhere in Tennessee.
Wow.
I will travel.
I know you told us that, but I was like for real?
I really
like you
will.
go all the way up to Bristol.
I will.
You ain't gonna go to Bristol selling a $175,000 house though, would you?
Well, you know.
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing.
If you need me to go to Bristol or be in Bristol so you can see your house, I'm gonna find a way for you.
Man, that's nice. That's nice. Now, do you do like at closing? I've seen your pictures on Facebook. They all look really immaculate, look beautiful. But do you put together a closing package for your clients?
Not a closing package. I typically give a bottle of nice champagne. And I have a nice video for you.
Okay.
And I have some other services. Sometimes they call me for everything, though. My clients call me for everything. After they in the house, if they need somebody to come put up ceiling fans, a plumber,
one-stop shop.
Everything, literally.
So how did you get to that level where you have all those connections? Like, because I'm sure it took a while, right?
It did. It's networking within the field, going to different events, just meeting on job sites, new construction sites. I'm always there visiting.
So
I'm always moving around.
So what do you recommend? I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you recommend new construction or
Definitely
do you recommend
for first-time home buyers?
Why is that?
Because it's a warranty and they don't have to worry about fixing this and that and the other.
Okay.
They're covered.
Your main things.
Yes.
Your main items.
If we got you in the house with no money down, I'm not trying to have you go out and fix a roof or have a plumbing issue. That's not my get down.
And that's booming right now, right? The building is just booming here in Murfreesboro, right?
It is.
Mm-hmm. Has the market crashed a little? Not crashed, but has it kind of slowed down a little bit?
It slowed down a bit because of interest rates.
Yeah, interest rates. And pretty soon we'll probably start seeing home prices quit going up as fast.
Yeah, they've dropped some.
Mm-hmm. I know the house we moved into. We just moved into it, and that joke like doubled already. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. You want to sell?
Shh, don't tempt me. I told
Make your money.
Yeah, but see, the only problem is where we gonna go. Right. Where we going?
But if you put down all your proceeds, most of your proceeds to pay a few bills off and go get it.
See, that's so you see, she's trying to sell me right now. Hustling. I know, hustling. Look, let's talk after the show.
Okay, let's do that.
I don't know. I have to talk to Torrence first because I don't know what my credit look like.
You a better. You a bet. You a bet.
That's true. So my credit is good then. So I'm a bet. I most definitely.
Okay. I ain't saying that part, but I'm just saying you a bet.
Okay. All right, Tar. What about you? What you want people to know after they've been in your care for a while?
Well, I just want them to feel. I want them to feel like they're educated. In our business, we always say, because I work on referrals only. That's it.
Really?
That's it.
Okay.
Me too.
Referrals only.
You too?
So if I'm not doing my job, then that means the business dries up for me.
Right.
Right. So as long as my phone is still ringing, I'm doing something right.
Yeah, you are. Okay.
But at the end of the day, I want people to make sure they leave feeling that they got a full understanding. And they're not going to understand exactly everything, but they know the basic process, the basic steps, and not to be afraid the next time you're ready to buy. And they're like, man, this guy he educated me on the different options that I can take. He got me in this, showed me this, showed me why I need to do this, why he recommended not to do this. Because at the end of the day, all I can do is recommend different products for you. At the end of the day, you have to decide which one you want to do.
Right.
But I'll give you the benefits for both and then the pros and cons, so to speak, for both of them. But I really want you to just feel educated because I think it's very important because I see, and I talk to a lot of people that they're so afraid just to try. And it's like, man, I've been thinking about it for years, but I just didn't really know where to start it. It's really just picking up the phone.
Yeah, it's making them comfortable with you.
Okay.
Yes. If you can have a dialogue to where they're comfortable and be themselves and they don't have to feel like, they're talking to a complete total stranger, although they are. But,
right.
You can just feel people's energy.
Building a rapport.
Yeah.
Right.
Building that rapport. Because I tell people all the time, and this is the beginning of my conversations, is I'll tell them, say, by the time we end this, I say, I'm going to be that best friend that you love to hate. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm going to be all up in your business. because I have to be, right? And because I've been doing it for so long, I can look at your credit report, look at your bank statements, and all that stuff. I can tell what you're doing with your money. But I'm not gonna go tell nobody. But I gotta talk to you about it.
They think we're gonna
tell
their
business.
My business. I could care less about what you're doing. I'm just trying to get you to the finish line.
Right,
exactly.
Right.
But I'm gonna be that guy when I say the best friend that you love to hate is because your best friend should what? Always tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. Right?
Should.
So, but that's the part you're gonna hate about me.
Yeah.
Oh, you always this. But you think about it later on, you're like, man, I love that guy.
I appreciate what he did. That guy. Yeah, appreciate.
You know what I'm saying? Because and that's the part that I think, especially in my business, because I've been around this a long time. Especially when I first got in this business, man, the loan officers that I knew back in the day, they were not educating people. Mm-hmm. It was all about the sale,
just the money.
Get this deal closed. Get this deal closed. Get this deal closed. They didn't care. Why? Because, like I say, to me, it never should have existed to where you can be in a 2-year arm. I'm just going to use this as an example. A 2-year arm with a 3-year prepayment penalty.
I know what none of that means, but so I'm listening.
A 2-year arm adjustable rate mortgage.
Okay.
Meaning 2 is fixed for 2 years. In that beginning of the 3rd year, it's going to adjust. Meaning more than likely it's going to go up.
So it's going to adjust to whatever the rate is at that time.
Based off the prime and whatever your adjustment caps and stuff like that.
Is that similar to balloon payment?
Yeah, I've heard of
balloon payments mean you're going to be, the balloon payments can be fixed. That's just basically being your entire balance becomes due at a certain time. Oh. Say it's ammed out over 30 years, but you got a 15-year balloon, meaning that the whole thing becomes due in 15 years, although it's amortized out over 30 years for the payment.
That makes no sense.
Well, people do that sometimes because sometimes those products give you a lower interest rate.
But then they sell the house.
Right? Can the rates fluctuate?
It just depends on how. No, it depends on how it's set up.
Okay.
And then most people usually sell their house before that 15 years.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
It's like your job, you travel, you got relocated like every 5 years. An ARM may make sense for you because you get that lower rate, so you're paying less money. Because I know I'm gonna sell this thing, I'm gonna be out of here in 5 years,
right,
or 4 years. So it saves you a little bit of money, but because rates are rates are not historically low right now, but they're still historically lower than where they have been. Prior to 2008, we didn't see no rates in no 3s,
right,
or 4s or 5s. Rates were in the 6s. You got the high 5s back then, but if you go back to the history, you go talk to your parents when they bought their first house, they were probably 11, 15, maybe 19%.
We couldn't even imagine.
Man, I couldn't imagine that.
So people today hearing something like that, they're like, "Good God, I can't do that."
Right.
That's crazy. So that's kind of what we're seeing right now is everybody's kind of having to adapt and start seeing the way the rate, because rates have moved up probably about 200 basis points over the past month and a half.
I know, because we got it when we bought ours, it's pretty low. It was pretty low.
Yeah.
And I thought about refinancing. I was like,
no.
I was like, no, I'm good.
You don't touch your house unless
only thing you can do is
absolutely.
Sell. You ready?
Moving on. Well, Nancy killed me if I talk about selling. She love her little spot. Okay. One more quick question for both of you guys. What is it really important for people to know when they go to buy a house and to go get a lender? Can we shop for different lenders, or do we have to use the lender that the realtor suggests for us?
I work with several lenders. I don't only just work with my brother.
Right.
But I work with several lenders, and I'll go after the lender that will benefit the client the best in their situation. Sometimes I could be the builder's lender because they're offering incentives to purchase a new construction home.
Right.
So I go with whoever is going to be beneficial to the client.
Okay. So if a couple says, or a single person say, I want to buy a house, what is it that they need to know first? I know we went through the whole credit and all this stuff, but what is it that we need to sit down and do before we go shopping for a house?
Well, for me, I need a pre-approval letter.
What?
I do. I have to know how much you pre-approved for so I can know where to take you. So she knows what range. Yeah, what range.
Okay, I know that. I know that. But I'm just saying on the whole, like when you said I want to go get a house,
I ask location.
Thank you. That's what she's just all about the money. I'm like, what are some of this common stuff that we need to be doing? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Right there.
Okay. Well, I mean,
get off the money train.
I still have to know your pre-approval amount.
No,
but
you're right. You're right.
I want to know what county you're trying to be in.
Okay.
You know, the school. You know, what size your family gonna be in. What's your 5-year goal of, you know, if you plan on selling, if you know the market at that time.
Got you. Okay. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. All right. 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, upstairs, downstairs, mass, you know, things like that. That's what I'm thinking. Yard, no yard, you know.
You want maintenance, no maintenance.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, you know.
HOA.
Right.
Oh, man, don't let me start on the HOA, man.
No comment.
Man.
You talking about the money game.
Man.
I'm far from that.
We need to start our own HOA,
there you
man.
go.
I'm telling you. Good, great. All right. So what about you? What is it what we need to know about lenders before we get started? I'm a veteran, so I really don't care who my lender is, to tell you the truth.
Well, it's just all about.
Well, sometimes the builder can be giving you an extra 10 racks towards closing. You never know.
Mm-hmm. Just kind of know. You should kind of know. Everybody, I think you should know your situation as far as. Don't come in and say, "Oh, my credit's perfect. I'm gonna be good to go." When you know if you pay your bills on time.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not, you know, just. I'm not going to require you to know anything because that's my job is to educate you. Because most people most people only buy maybe 1-2 houses in their lifetime. That's going to be it. So that's not something they're around every day or once a year or something like that. So I'm going to tell you what you need to know, what you need to see and stuff like that. But I always just tell people, really find the person that you're comfortable with and somebody you trust.
Okay.
Trust is big.
Trust is very big because you got a lot of people who they may be good at their job as far as getting you closed, but are they educating you to know so you know exactly what's going on with the program that they got you put in, right? So you just got to get somebody that's going you trust and that's going to educate you because to me that's the key thing. Education to me is key for everything. Know what you're doing and know why you're doing it.
Right. Okay.
You know, don't just be hopping blind into something and then 5 years later tomorrow. Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
You know,
don't let that $350,000 house get you.
Right. Exactly.
And hardwood floors and granite and all that marble.
And I'll tell you what, Mike, and I'll probably get in trouble for this because I take it one step further. Is because I always tell people, I said, you got to think about it. I always bring up the fact that we qualify you based off your gross. I cannot stress that enough.
Right.
I really can't. Say, hey, you qualify for this, but think about this. You after your taxes, you bringing in $4,000 a month.
Right.
Your 401k.
$4,000 cash a month. That's what you bring to the household, right?
Right.
Your payment is say $1,500. Let's subtract that from $4,000. What we got left? $25.
Yeah.
Okay. You got 2 car payments, you and your wife. 2 car payments. Say that comes up to $1,000. Right? What you got left? $1,500.
I'll refinance you.
$1,500.
I'm gonna refinance you.
You know what I'm saying? $1,500.
Yeah, we don't think about that. Then you got groceries.
Then you got your groceries,
bills,
your utilities, your car insurance, and all these other different little things. You know, you got to live, gas. All that stuff. And not only that, if something happens,
because Murphy coming.
It's coming.
He coming.
He never fails to not show up.
Yeah, that's true. And he always show up at the wrong time.
Right. So you got to prepare for that. I would just say, people, you need to make sure you're paying attention as far as your overall. If you don't look at this house and just be stuck, I got to have this.
Right.
You know, like a nigga said, you definitely want to get something that you want and you love. I'm a little bit different. I don't think you got to just be completely in love with it. Because everybody's got to start somewhere.
Right.
Start somewhere. Like we always said back in the day, we used to say start with a starter home, which is it's not gonna be the house that you really want, but I'm gonna start here, stay there for a couple of years, sell that,
make your money,
move to the next one. Then by the time you get to that third or fourth, then you should probably be a little bit more financially stable.
Right.
You got a handle on as far as how these bills are coming in every month and the maintenance alone that comes along with owning.
Right.
Because that is a big part of it.
And I think a lot of people don't think about that. The bigger the house, the more the
more the
utilities,
maintenance, and all that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen, we're talking to Konica and Torrence. I know I hadn't said that in a while, and they are telling us about real estate and lenders, and I really appreciate that. I tell you, making these decisions and choices can be hard, especially because I'm just talking from my experience. I'm not gonna talk from nobody else's, but like when we were shopping for a house, you know, she wants this, I want this, she like this, I didn't like that. So we were just kind of going back and forth. But it's like what you just said, you know, it's what's gonna make the family happy.
Right.
You know, I may not get everything I want, but
compromise.
Right.
Yeah, compromise, you know, compromise. So you know, I don't get that fire pit in the back of my house with the cookout and all that stuff, you know.
But I'm gonna send you somebody that can build it for you.
I know you will. I know you will.
At a discounted
I know
rate.
you will. I know you will. And so just doing those things and making those decisions, like, you know, do I want to afford, you know, 1,500 or 35 or 1,300 a month or 2,000, you know, because we always think we can do it. We always feel like we can do it until we really can't do it. So I know I'm gonna shoot these questions real quick, and I just want y'all to just shoot them back to me real quick, because we've kind of gone over time a little bit. But who do you look up to for inspiration and mentorship?
Ronnie.
Ricky and Mike.
That's my dad, guys.
No, I'm just because they like, who Ronnie?
I got a lot of people, man. That's not one person. I pull from a little bit from each one, but I'm gonna tell you, for me, real quick, just to be real brief, is as far as the people that have given me the opportunity, as far as the people who laid the path before me.
Okay.
I don't want to step on their toes by failing them or slapping them in the face of the sacrifices they made.
Right.
And I feel like this is part of me continuing the tradition as far as let me open doors for somebody else.
Cool. What is the most important risk you took and why? See, she ain't prepared.
Mine's going from a salary to commission income.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is a big step.
Big step.
My biggest risk would probably be buying my first home, because I was in my 20s, and I was one of those scared ones too.
Okay.
But I jumped out there and I made it work.
That's what you got to do. What is the most memorable lesson you've learned?
Not to worry. Things always somehow seem to work themselves out.
Okay.
Sacrifice and compromise.
How do you continue to grow and develop as a realtor and a lender?
Education for me.
Education?
I was going to say education as well.
I know y'all keep beating that. Like, y'all keep beating educate yourselves.
Well, the market is always changing.
Right. How do you generate great ideas as a realtor and a lender? How do you I don't know if you can generate ideas. I think you kind of
everything's already out there.
Okay, so as a realtor, how do you generate good ideas?
I see what other realtors are doing, and I try to find a back door. Meditation.
Okay.
I'm always trying to figure something out, and if I think on it long enough, it'll come to me.
Okay. One thing you would like people to know about you that many may not know.
I'm in my 40s.
Okay. You look about 25 over there. Okay. I didn't know that.
Thank you.
Are you really?
I'll be 42.
Really?
Next month.
Okay.
I don't know, man. I'm a pretty open book.
Okay.
I am. I don't know. Got two boys. A lot of people may not know that. Well, they know that though.
No, they know that.
They know that.
Okay, closing out, man. Do you guys have a favorite scripture that you kind of lean on a little bit?
Fear not.
Okay, where that at? No,
all over. It's all over. Fear not.
Fear not. Fear not, says the Lord. Okay.
Mine is Romans 12:2.
That's mine.
Is it? Yes, sir.
That's mine, dude. I love that. I preach that all day long. All right, last thing you want to leave with the people. Very last thing you want to leave with people.
You're looking to buy or sell? I'm Konica. I'm your neighborhood realtor. I will travel, hold your hand from beginning to the end, get you in the door.
All right, Torrence Verge with a preferred rate, loan officer, area manager. If you need financing, call me. If you need education, call me. Don't turn down nobody. Main goal is education.
Education. Hey, listen, this is your boy Pastor Mike with the 11th hour. We had some great.
Let the people see that. that has my Instagram, Facebook, phone number, and
well,
email.
She come ready, boy, doesn't she? Ready for real. All right. We might have to put that on the website. It's your boy, Pastor Mike, aka 90s number 5. And I'm so happy to have my fam on the talk show today, on the podcast, the 11th hour, making decisions about buying homes and getting you a great lender. So this has been fun, guys. I appreciate you. And there's a lot of stuff we didn't even get to.
Right.
Like, we didn't really cover a lot. We had more fun today than anything else. But I know we went a little bit long, but man, it was some great stuff. And I hope you guys learned something about real estate and being prepared and lending, and get them credit scores up. Get them credit scores up.
If not, come see me. Come see me. I got you.
Get your credit score up and go get that house. Don't be afraid. Just get yourself educated before you walk out the door. And if you're a veteran, God bless you. You're going to be good. You're going to be all right. So hey, I just want to remind you to go make movements, not just moments. This is your boy, Pastor Mike, and we out. Peace.